Thank you. And tonight we are honored with a special guest from the JFK Building Committee with an update. I'd like to welcome Randy Daigle. Is that how you pronounce it? Come on up. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you very much for the invite. My name is Randy Daigle. I am fortunate enough to be the chairman of the JFK Middle School construction project. I was gonna. Yep. Sorry, I'll speak into it. That's it. That's what I'm known for. I was going to bring some pretty pictures, but the building's been occupied for quite some time now, so I just wanted to do a brief description of where we are, what took place, and then where we are financially right now. We are in the closeout phase of the project, but I left you all a package, and it's on the screen. So the project team consists of Construction Solution Group. They are the owner's rep that we hired to represent the town because we didn't have a CA per se. They acted as the owner's rep and a CA in the project. The architect was JCJ Architecture. The CMR, Construction Manager at Risk, was Gil Bain. As you all know, the building was built in 1967. There was an addition in 2002 that I was fortunate enough to be part of. So this is kind of what our charge was. We were expected, the existing square foot of the building was 164,000 square feet. The new building is 184,000. We were able to encompass grades 6, 7, 8, and we have a little over 1,120 students, which now has been much more than that. As you all know, the existing portable classroom structures holding 3 classrooms were removed, and those classrooms had to be occupied inside the new building. The enrollment, as you know, has increased, so we went from 11 teams to 12-team approach, which requires a rearranging of the entire course system. We also, program-wise, we added a gymnasium, auditorium, music program, technology, and arts, and we did the entire infrastructure, IT and telecommunication. The original cost for the first referendum, as you all know, was $95 million, and fortunately it failed. At that point, I was asked to come back and gather a team together with some of you guys that are still here, and Chris, who was bringing it of from way back, and some Board of Ed members. Gina's actually been also part of one of the originals. So we were able to redefine what was actually needed, and we brought it down to the approved referendum of $84,337,000. During the designing of it, we were also able to dwindle it back down a little bit. When we got to the point that we were putting out the bid, we had contracts for the architect was $4.9 million. Professional fees at that time were only $2.8, but we knew that was going to excel because that was just the beginning, and that's where all the testing and the CA comes in, the owner's rep, inspections come in. So at that point, we estimated the construction to be at $72.5 million. We kind of took out some IT equipment as a safety net, because as you all know, back then in the 2020, the market was starting to climb out of control. We went from 5% to 13% of escalation. The owner's rep contingency at that point, which is your safety net, was $1.3 million. So after the construction of it all, we were able to lock in the guaranteed maximum price, GMP it's called, for the following numbers. So the architect's fee ended up being $4.8 million, a little bit less. The professional fees, like we said, knew were going to go up, went up to $7 million. The construction, we were able to dial it down to $58.3 million. The technology we had at $4.8 million, and the owner's contingency went up to $9 million. So, to date, the town has spent $78,695,000 on this project. The state reimbursement, as you can see, we've had several draws from the state, 7.8 million, 6.2, 8.2, 17.2, 39 million is what we had at that time. We've since submitted another requisition to the town for 8.4 million, and that just got approved, so the town should be getting that shortly. So basically, what I wanted to recap or say, from the time we went out of construction, the way we organized the bidding process is that those of you that are familiar with construction, we pre-ordered a lot of stuff. We signed a lot of contracts ahead of time. We had material knowing that when the pandemic started, we were literally in the bidding process. So we locked in every contract we can. We started buying materials every time we can. We did off-site storage of material that we knew weren't warranted, like steel and steel aluminum, sheetrock. And that stuff, as you know, when we started purchasing the sheetrock, as an example, it was $6.58 a board. It went all the way up to $92 during the pandemic, and Kenny can vouch for that. Plywood was at $28, and then went up to $119 a square foot. A board. So we were able to lock all that stuff in. We were so fortunate that we ended up with a surplus that we were, on the final sheet, able to reinstate everything that we took out as a safety net from the beginning of the project. Just to get a little recap, the site work, we were able to reinstall outdoor or install a basketball court. We put lights around the basketball court. We were able to irrigate the athletic fields. We removed the existing fencing along the entire property, installed new fencing, installed safety fencing around the baseball field. We actually did a new concession building with bathrooms down there. So and all of this is all that I'm speaking of is reimbursed at 70% from the state of Connecticut. Anything after the project is done would have been at 100% dollar for dollar. So everything we were able to do, we did it at 70% reimbursed from the state. Everything that we did do, we got pre-approved from the state, so there's no question that we're going to get that money back. We provided a new canopy at the cafeteria receiving area in the back. We added new storage containers for Public Works can stow their on-site equipment. They don't have to drag it across town. The sports fields can put their nets in there, their soccer equipment, their track mats. Exterior-wise, we are just finishing up doing masonry pointing. We were able to do almost $1.2 million of masonry pointing that was required. When we started designing this building 7 years ago, none of that repointed was actually needed. There was some areas that we had allocated square feet-wise. There was several thousand square feet that we were going to repoint. 7 years later, a lot of the walls were getting moisture in. We were starting getting leakage. So at 70% reimbursement, we were able to repoint the exterior of the entire school without it charging dollar for dollar that the town would have had to pay, because that would have been needed to be done. We have a new digital sign at the main entrance. We have technology shop equipment. We bought new equipment for the robots, for the wood shop, all the other IT equipment for those. We did all new infrastructure as far as IT and computers. The entire building is Wi-Fi. The entire building is air conditioned. We brought new custodial equipment to be utilized for maintenance. And we bought a slew of added stock for them, so they didn't, and the town wouldn't have to budget for several years for all this new equipment. Equipment to main exterior maintenance. Inside, we were able to convince the state. We have glass clear walls in the hallway. As you all know, years ago there was a glass above each classroom so you could see inside the hallway, because the ceilings are really low there. Initially, the state said, no, it's a fire hazard. We can't no longer do it with the new fire code. We were able to convince them by adding special material that was actually cheaper than CMU wall, and they approved it, so now you have natural light going through the hallway into the classrooms. We did some significant modifications and upgrades to the media center. As you know, the media center wasn't where it is. That was a decision that we were made when we opted to take the pool out of JFK. And I still get questions about why did we take the pool out. The reason why we had to take the pool out was because it was not reimbursable. It would have cost $1.6 million for the dehumidification system in there, and another $900,000 to redo the entire pool system, the walls, and the bathrooms. And that would have been non-reimbursed by the state of Connecticut. It wasn't part of the curriculum, neither. It was no longer in the gym. It was used by after school and seniors. Not saying that the seniors didn't need it, but when it comes down to having an extra $2 million for a project, that was an area that we were able to move, and that is now the cafeteria. And then the media center, we ended up having a separate building built. We did additional 4 new SOAR classrooms. The gymnasium's totally revamped, new floors, new everything. We purchased new climbing equipment. A lot of the equipment in the bleachers we were going to be reusing. We didn't. We have brand new equipment, new furniture throughout the entire building. We did not reuse any of the existing equipment. We had additional stair access to the rooftops to help once we built it. As much as we try to listen to the end user, it's really easy to draw a pretty picture, but the custodians were saying, we have all this heavy equipment that we're bringing up to change the filters. Can we have a real stairway instead of a ship's ladder? And we're like, great idea. So there was funds available. We found a vacant closet, and we utilized that. We added screening and filming around the hub and the security office. So now when you go in there, there's a security room there, and they're looking at you, but you can't see them. So it makes everybody a little bit more cautious of who's looking at who. They have multiple cameras in there. So we added actually an additional 62 cameras after it was built, even though we did hire a security system company, and once it was built, we found black spots, dead zones. So we were fortunate enough, like I said again. So with all that, we are in the final stages of closing out the building now. There are some items that we were hoping to get approved by the town beforehand, but they're still in limbo. Some items we're going to be able to talk and work out. Some, unfortunately, it's going to be too late because we no longer have trades there. But we are still at $5.2 million under budget, all said and done. So I didn't want to, like I said, do a lot of pretty pictures. I guess I should have moved the thing here throughout, but I didn't.
And I'll just add, Mayor, that Councilor Sakala had asked me a question. There were a couple of items that Randy and the group had been waiting answers from John, whether they could add on and whether they'd be reimbursable. So I sent those on to bond counsel because it was a bond counsel question. Matt Ritter got right back to me last week. I've shared it. John's out on a funeral leave yesterday and today, but we'll be looking at those, and if possible, we'll have an answer by Wednesday. If we need council input, we'll bring it to you for your approval, but it was a positive response from Mr. Ritter, so we'll keep you posted.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Randy. I've been in JFK quite a few times. It's amazing. Same with Enfield High School. I have one question, but it relates to Enfield High, if you're okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm somewhat familiar with it.
And I believe it's on the agenda, we have an issue with a boiler door that I tried to get done through warranty. I guess the door cracked and stuff like that. And how thorough is the committee looking at these contractors, the warranties, and how reputable they are? Like this boiler door, a door shouldn't crack.
You're absolutely right. When those boilers were put in, we had an issue with some of the gauges and the connection valves. Under warranty, they replaced them, and the committee we requested, because we just didn't want that fixed. We wanted the whole unit re-warranted, so they did an extended warranty. Unfortunately, a little over a year and a half, 16 months ago, I'd say, I got a call that the door was failing, and Gilbane got a call that the door was failing. We notified the town and we notified the custodians. It's still under warranty, but for several months. You need to get involved and get the warranty issue resolved. Calls were never made. Warranty lapsed, and now it's the town's problem.
Now, I believe this is the second door that's broke?
Correct.
So even this second door would have fallen under
Correct.
the warranty timeline.
Because what happens is, like, we have issues right now. We had some gaskets at JFK rooftop units, that a couple of gaskets. There's 11 rooftop units there. We had 2 units that the gaskets was failing. Once we realized that was failing, we said, we want all the door gaskets replaced. I don't care if they're good or if they're not. So that would have fallen into, if they called on the first door, the second door would have probably been repaired before it failed. But unfortunately now it's the town's ticket, 100%.
Okay. Questions? Go ahead, Councilman Ludwig.
How are you?
Welcome. Mayor Nelson kind of led. I also heard there's some issue leaking. Correct me if I'm wrong. The roof's leaking. I understand new construction things happen, but what do we have specific warranties on, and where is it documented? You mentioned maybe the town. Again, where is it documented? Who's responsible for it?
Well, once we turn over the building for use, the town assumes responsibility.
Right.
We have the O&M manuals that the town receives. We have training. We've done 3 training classes already for JFK. They have a program where they can literally pull it up, click
on computer.
On the computer,
okay,
click on something, and it spells out the door, the manufacturer, warranty, the contact information, and all that. So it's literally as easy as making a phone call or an email. We are having issues, and that's why we did the repointing. The problem we had at JFK was made to have air conditioners in the windows. And the windows, if you're hot, you open them up, and you're cold, you close them. That building there was built that didn't have air between the bricks and the CMU wall. There was no gap, which allows moisture. So once we closed the building up, took out all the windows, made it air conditioning, and then we started sucking the moisture as air conditioners do, it started pulling the moisture from the outside of the brick in. So all our new walls, a lot of them in the stairwell and exterior walls, started peeling. The contractor, we were aware of it. The contractor stood by it. The architect stood by it. We hired a specialist to come out and do all these tests. That's why the resolution was it had to be repointed, because the brick, the joints in the building were just so old that it was allowing moisture to come through. When the air conditioning's on, it sucks through the walls. So that's why the pointing was really required. And like I said, we were fortunate enough to be able to do it under the reimbursement rate. There are some errors. Once it becomes vacuum sealed, it takes 1 cycle. Winter, summer. So this summer will be the deciding factor if we fixed it or not. If we didn't fix it, we are coming back. We have, like I said, there's still $5.2 million in there, and we were put aside, and the JCJ architects are fully aware of it. Gilbane's fully aware of it. The moisture litigation company that did all the testing is fully aware of it. So like I said, unfortunately, you have to go through 1 heat cycle and coolant cycle to determine if you fixed it all. The reason we had a leak apparently the other day is one of the ductwork hoods got blown off. It was crazy windy, not an excuse, but it happens. One of the ducts got blown off, and so the rain literally just went in. As you know, they all have what's called gooseneck, so the rain goes this way. Well, that got blown off, and it was just like a cereal bowl, so the water went in, and that's where the leak was.
So there's a friendly handoff between the committee or the architect to the
The
town.
town has full responsibility of
About the schools,
issues.
So I'm saying, do they have access to this? So the schools are going to be the first ones that see there's an issue with, again, so they're more than the town. Is it there as well? So they're aware that, again, we have a warranty on a dock.
Yeah.
And maybe the town is aware, but again, may not be aware as soon as the schools would be. Right. So is it a friendly handoff to both?
Well, we had a come to Jesus meeting with the school because we were still there doing the repointing. So if there was an issue, like a door couldn't close or something, they would call Gilbane, and Gilbane was like, "Well, you've had that door for 3 years now." Come to find out that the custodians put a wedge underneath there, which kind of cocked it out, so now it won't close properly. So when they were cleaning, they didn't have to keep opening and closing the door. So it's stuff like that we've been finding issues with. They assume taking responsibility. If there's an issue, we're second or third call now. We're no longer first call. If they can't figure it out, or if they don't know, we've had instances where the roof hatch was left open.
Schools have have access to this as well.
They have everything. The town public works has it, and the school custodian staff has it, and they've all been trained. We've retrained several times because then the custodians had a switch of people.
Yeah.
And then they were actually using the improper pads, and they were going to ruin the warranty on some of the floors. So we went back there and retrained them because there was a second or third shift. The whole staff got changed. So we redid the training again. So right now, everything seems to be going okay. We did have a water issue, like I said the other day, with the big storm. But
So just want to make sure, correct me if I'm wrong. So you said roughly about $78.6 million would be roughly what the cost of if I read your, right?
yep.
And so 70% of that is roughly $55 million, so that we were expecting one more payment from the state, roughly?
Well, we actually should be expecting a couple more because
more?
that number is based on the assumption, what the town likes to do, which is kind of fair. They like to go with the idea that we're only going to get 50% of our change orders approved. Most of our change orders we had pre-approved before we did the work, so that should be up in the 75 to 80%. So there should be more, but the town plays it safe, which is rightfully so, because we've worked in towns where they go the other way, and then it's all said and done, and nobody has any money left in their pocket. So right now, yes, until it's done.
And just so I think for people to understand, if you don't mind, so under budget, fantastic. Good news, right? That money, if it stays the way it is, goes back into the state.
Yeah, a lot of people think
because we all pay state taxes, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, a lot of people
that's
think
good
we
news
got
to let people know, right?
the $83 million and it's in a bank account.
Right.
It's more or less a line of credit.
Right.
If you don't use it, it goes back.
Right, perfect.
It's not like, oh, let's do this with it.
That's good to know, though. I mean,
a lot of people think, oh, well, we have
right.
this money. Well, why don't we fix this? Why don't we do that?
Right.
It doesn't. It's not.
No,
that way.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
When
no.
you actually give back, it's actually a good thing. I'm happy. Trust me. I think it's
Absolutely.
a great thing. But I think the taxpayers understand it. Look, yeah, it's not just you're spending the most to, it's like you're still trying to be frugal, get the best bang for your buck. And if we have, again, good news, we're under budget.
Right.
Hopefully it reflects in your state taxes. Maybe we can get rid of state income tax at some point. Thank you.
It's a
Appreciate
different
it.
meeting.
Yeah, that's reaching it.
Anyone else? Would you know if Enfield High's roof is still under warranty?
The roof should be. Yeah, the roof. I believe that roof is either a 20 or 25 year.
Because when's the last time you were in Enfield High School?
Probably like 5-6 years ago.
I was in it about 3 weeks ago, and the whole front foyer, when you walk in, all the drywall's peeling, and looks like the columns, water's running down the columns and
Yeah,
stuff
the roof.
like that.
The roof is either a 20 or 25 year, and that's a EPDM. So that should be. And the EPDM goes along the flashes. So you have two warranties when it comes to roofing. You have the membrane, which is the roof itself, and then you have the fascia boards, which is a separate warranty. So that should get looked into and go through the warranty procedure.
Right, and the warranty would cover the cost of fixing the damage inside the school.
Well, yes, if it's found to be a warranty issue. Sometimes what happens is that if you let something go, as you know, too long, it is no longer covered by the warranty, because if you would have called us when it first happened, it would have been a ceiling tile. If you waited 6 months and now the walls and carpet, well, you own the walls and carpet.
Right.
So.
Okay, good. Everybody, Bob, did you want to talk? You had something?
Great job, Randy. Nice presentation. One question on the boiler doors. How many more boiler doors do we have that could possibly break at Enfield High School?
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know how many. I don't recall exactly how many doors there are. There's hatches, there's doors, there's passways, there's different things. So it all depends on the volume, if it's classified as a door or access panel or something.
All right, I appreciate it. It was just a lot of money, so I'm just looking out for the future.
He's talking about the doors in question that are cracking.
The boiler doors that are cracking. You don't know how many more there are.
I don't recall how many actually, no. It's been about 7 years, since I've done that one.
Jesus.
Memory goes fast.
Those JFK boilers were 60 years old.
Yeah, but for the last 10 years, they were on a trailer
60 years
outside.
old. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Randy. We appreciate everything you do, and keep up the great work. And hopefully in the next, 6 months, we'll be talking about the Public Safety Complex.
My mic was off. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
You don't need the mic for here.